Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wyatt Claypool Show. And, well, the Liberal leadership race is off to a strange start so far, but I'm here to break it down for you guys today. The Liberals have guaranteed that this race is going to be an on fire clown car. There is a $350,000 buy in for this race. I know inflation has sucked under the Liberals, but the Conservatives got criticized for making their buy in $300,000, and just a couple years later, it's $350,000 in a liberal leadership race that's not even going to last more than 2 months. Ballots get counted on March 9th, which really means that voting is on like March 1st or 2nd, because if you don't have your ballot in the mail by those dates, they're probably not actually going to get counted. The Liberals have finally adjusted their membership rules so people who aren't even permanent residents can't vote, or like, Xi Jinping's son. But the thing is still going to be an absolute disaster because there's almost no security on fact checking whether or not people are really permanent residents or not. I don't think the Liberals have the resources to track that information down in the short period of time that their race is lasting for. But who am I to judge? Let's go over some of the weirder things that have happened in this leadership race so far. In the future, I'm definitely going to make a detailed video on every single candidate, what their background is, and kind of what lane they fill in the Liberal leadership. But let's just go over what the news of the race has been so far. We've had MPs we expected to jump into the race just suddenly pull back the last second. Maybe that's because of the crazy high buy in, or maybe someone told them, definitely, please do not run. And then, though, we've had a bunch of people, we don't even know who they are, throwing their hat into the ring. Chandra Arya and Frank Baylis, I doubt you guys have ever heard of those two people. And then the candidates who are even higher profile have either failed to launch their campaign so far, or in the case of Christy Clark, she launched her campaign and then immediately torpedoed into the ground and exploded over the dumbest lie I've ever heard in my life. So we're going to break this all down. We're going to start with the Christy Clark story. But first, I just want to remind you guys, hey, if you like this channel, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed. About 70% of people watching any given video I put up has not yet subscribed to the channel. So make sure to do that. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by December of this year. But without further ado, let's jump into Christy Clark's launch and then her quick dive into complete irrelevancy in this race. Like maybe she's going to stick around and really do something, but I think that this basically cut her brakes right away. So Christy Clark has started trying to market herself in this race as a lifelong liberal here to save Canada from the clutches of Pierre Poilievre. The problem with that, other than it's completely stupid, because if you actually polled Canadians on what they want in government, it looks a lot like Pierre Poilievre, but Christy Clark hasn't even been a lifelong liberal. In fact, she was just a conservative as of just a little bit more than a year ago. Check out this clip from the CBC when they asked her about her claims that she's always been a liberal.
You have called yourself a lifelong liberal, but you voted in the last federal conservative leadership race. That would have required you to cancel your Liberal Party membership in order to join the Conservative Party. How long were you a member of the Conservative Party, Christy Clark?
Never.
But you voted in the race, did you not?
No, I didn't.
She even has like the liar's smile. And the thing, we're going to get into this, but like, what is the point of even lying here?
And I never got a membership, and I never got a ballot. What I did, though,
I will say, Christy Clark, we reached out to the Conservative Party, who told us, in fact, that your membership was canceled.
It has got to be a big step for you to join the Conservatives. Why did you do it?
Because I think that we need a lead. There is only one leader who's running for office right now, who is going to be able to unite the country, I think, and who's going to bring a moderation and a willingness to talk to the people with whom he disagrees, and that's Jean Charest. I'm joining the party so that I could support my friend, Mr. Charest.
It's not even just Christy Clark's word that she joined the party. Later, Jenny Byrne, the top advisor to Pierre Poilievre, released her membership record showing that she became a member in 2022 and then canceled it sometime in 2023. By the way, when she was backing Jean Charest, she even said she was backing him because she needed somebody who could beat Justin Trudeau. Despite the fact that she's now been running around for the last few months pretending that she's a big fan of Trudeau, but we just need a stronger leader to lead the Liberal Party forward. I thought the Liberal government was the problem, but apparently they're all cool now that they might make you the Prime Minister for like 2 weeks before Pierre Poilievre absolutely caves in all of your political dreams. It is so asinine. She decided to lie about this. When someone lies about stuff this stupid, you gotta wonder what else they would be willing to lie about. Like, I don't need to read this full statement here, so I'm not going to expand it, but this was what Christy Clark posted after it was clear she was lying. Lying for no reason, lying over something stupid. She said this: well, I misspoke. S happens. Lesson learned. I have always been clear that I supported Jean Charest to stop Pierre Poilievre. Specifically, she said like she was supporting Jean Charest to stop Trudeau because he was more uniting than Poilievre. But she goes on to say, not backing away from that. He's the most divisive politician we've seen in years, and I felt it was my duty as a Canadian to stop him and in his movement forward, in his attempt to become leader. But when I look at this, I just feel all the consultants on her campaign telling her, oh, no, don't say that you have any connection to the Conservative Party. Like, guys, the Conservatives are actually very popular right now. I'm saying this as a Conservative. I'm going to vote Conservative. I hate the Liberal Party of Canada. But if you're running for the Liberal Party of Canada, and the current zeitgeist in Canadian politics is people who want to increase freedom, lower taxes, lower wasteful government spending, getting rid of the carbon tax, all this stuff, you think you would actually embrace the fact that I've been a member of the Liberals, I've been a member of the Conservatives, I am the centrist alternative to the failed leadership of Justin Trudeau. That is the smart way of marketing yourself. Like, I know Clark is a lefty. She absolutely is. She has no claim to the center or the center right like she's tried to do in the past. She toured when she was the premier of British Columbia, Preston Manning around the legislature, pretending like we're together on this one, even though those two do not line up politically at all. So she's, for some reason, doubling down on how liberal and progressive she is when that is literally the brand that has failed with Justin Trudeau. There is going to be a bunch of TrueAnon people who are going to try and vote for the absolute closest thing in this leadership race to Trudeau. But if you had a brain in your skull, you should be trying to run away from Justin Trudeau in this leadership race. And Clark sometimes gets that. She sometimes does the smart thing, like announces that I will be getting rid of the consumer carbon tax because Canadians do not like it. Smart move. But then she does something like this, lying about her Conservative membership, that absolutely undermines her credibility on anything because she has shown that she's willing to lie over petty, stupid stuff like this. Anyways, let's move on to another candidate. We have, I'm going to say Frank Baylis for a bit later. Let's start off with this other candidate who's getting clowned on pretty hard right now because nobody knows who he is. And he comes off as, somewhat of an oddball kind of person to be running. Here's Chandra Arya, a Hindu Liberal MP, trying to seek the leadership race, talking on Power and Politics about how he doesn't speak French and he doesn't care.
How's your French?
No.
No French?
No French.
Okay, the Liberal Party of Canada is the party of official bilingualism. It's going to be a tough one. I don't speak French either, so
The point is that whether the Quebecers or English Canadians, it's not the language that matters, it's what is that they deliver to them.
But the language matters very much in Quebec.
By the way, I don't want to be rude to this guy or anything, but his English isn't great either. The funny thing is this man actually has, oddly, a platform that I can sometimes agree with. Did you know that this man, with this accent, is actually the anti-DEI candidate? He opposes DEI programs in government. So I guess if you guys are not Conservative members and you want to take out a Liberal membership, it's free. Maybe vote for this guy. That would be funny. So he's against the monarchy. He's against DEI programs. He's against the consumer carbon tax. But then he's also kind of pro-Hamas. But then he's against the Khalistanis because he's a Hindu. He's just like an absolute grab bag of random policies.
No. At the end of the day, Quebecers see who delivers what. We have English-speaking, French-fluent prime minister for all the time. One of the things that matters to Quebecers are being a sovereign country, a sovereign republic.
Yeah.
And which prime minister has ever talked about that?
Mr. Arya, if you're going to run for prime minister, you have to know that the French language matters, and the French it matters in Quebec.
Trust me.
Profoundly.
Trust me, at the end of the day, for French Canadians and English Canadians, the matters most is that how the children and grandchildren are going to prosper in this country. That is the thing that matters.
Okay, we'll leave it there. We'll see what happens in the rule.
Like, I don't know how this guy's going to come up with the $350,000 to actually enter this race, because a single individual can only give you up to like $1,800 or $1,775 in the year 2025. So, like, if he gets in, that'd be hilarious. Maybe we should all donate to him to get him into the race. Not actually, I'm just kidding. But honestly, I'd like to see him on a debate stage, because this guy's kind of funny. And you know what? Kind of I agree with him. I don't really care if politicians can speak French or not. And of course, I'm saying this in Albertan. But like, I always do find that's kind of strange that every leader has to be somewhat of a Laurentian elite who has good English and good French, which means that you tend to get leaders out of the St. Lawrence sort of river valley. You get a lot of people who live around the kind of Ottawa, Montreal, Toronto bubble area. And, you know, maybe it would be good to have somebody who doesn't actually speak French, but is just a good politician leading the country for once. But I would say it would be good if the person can also speak English. Chandra Arya, in fact, only actually came to Canada in like 2004 or something like that. The man's only been here for around 20 years. He came here when he was in his 40s. Now he's 62, and he's going to run to be the Prime Minister of Canada. I guess so. I guess Ujjal Dosanjh became the Premier of British Columbia, but Ujjal Dosanjh is actually kind of cool for a Liberal or an NDP guy. But I digress. Let's move on to something else. I'm going to skip over Frank Baylis. We don't need to hear from another candidate for a second here. I just want to jump over and talk about Melanie Joly, because I was promised Melanie Joly in this race. Supposedly, Melanie Joly was supposed to be in this race, and she was going to set the world on fire, according to one female campaign staffer for the Liberals. But today she is here to tell us, oh, no, I got work to do. That's why I can't do it. Oh, I was totally going to run and totally going to win. I have to go, like, I don't know, eat donuts or something.
You know, as Foreign Minister, I'm very much aware that we are chair of the G7 this year. So, and my job, along with the Prime Minister, is to make sure that these meetings go well and that we play a leadership role. Well, other countries of the G7 are concerned about the partnerships of countries within the G7, also based on the new administration in the US coming in. And so based on that, I'll make sure that we play a leadership role.
So Melanie Joly cannot run because we have the G7 chair this year, and Donald Trump, that's why I can't run. Donald Trump is existing, and that means I can't run or something like that. She posted probably one of the most arrogant things I've ever seen from a politician, justifying their frankly lack of initiative. So she posted this statement. I'm going to go find it in a second here. It was just mesmerizingly arrogant, at least in my opinion, just the way that she phrased the reason why she wasn't running. First, we do got to stop by this meme that this Liberal campaign staff member posted. I'm not sure which campaign she's on, but I said to this something else. I'll get to something else. I just said that campaign staffers are sometimes the most tiring people I've ever seen in my life. But she says, basically, my politics right now, this is brilliant, but I like this. It's like, these people are the most boring politicians I've ever seen. I do not believe her when she actually says she likes these people. Not at all, because these are some of the most boring people I've ever seen in my life. So, but here is Melanie Joly's statement on why she's not running. As I mentioned before, Dominic LeBlanc is also not running, but who cares? I actually didn't think he was going to run. I was listing him because people were saying he was going to run, but like, you don't become the deputy prime minister and finance minister for like 3 weeks and then say, well, I'm off. I'm going to go run for leadership. So Melanie Joly in her statement right here says, I chose public service to help my fellow Canadians achieve a better life. Throughout my career, each time I've been faced with a choice, I ask myself, how can I make the biggest impact for Canadians? Yeah, I guarantee she asks herself that. Over the past week, I have spoken with dozens of friends, colleagues, and close advisors, many of whom have encouraged me to run for the leadership of the Liberal Party of Canada. While I know I'm ready, oh my goodness, while I know I am ready to become the first woman to lead the Liberal Party of Canada, I must also recognize that the current international situation, especially the unjustified threat of tariffs and other economic pressures from the President-elect of the United States, requires a firm and urgent response. This is happening now. And then so she keeps waterboarding us with the details of why she's not running. Imagine saying, I'm not running, but I was totally ready to be the first female Liberal Party leader. Guys, I'm totally ready to be the prime minister. I got sandwiches to eat or whatever. Donald Trump is out there, drinking Diet Coke. I can't run. That's basically what Melanie Joly is saying. It's sad. And people thought this lady was leadership material. If she was leadership material, she would have the mettle to just say, I don't care what else is going on. I'm running because I'm the best person for the job. But she can't do that because she's not the best person for the job. She is decisively probably one of the worst people for this job. Oh, anyways. People are so tiring. I'm tired. Anyways, so we're going to get back to it. I want to show you guys this last interview with Frank Baylis, and then I think we can wrap this up here. Mark Carney and Christy Freeland still aren't in this race. You think they would attempt to announce faster than this? Because they don't have much time. Again, I guarantee they're not selling many memberships while having not announced. And so what they're doing is just making it so that it's going to be a mad dash to even have, 20,000 memberships. Because you got to get some momentum. There's no room for momentum here. But this is Frank Baylis, one of the other guys running for the leadership. Frankly, to be honest, as a conservative, an orthodox, fiscal and social conservative, if I was forced to become a Liberal member and I had to vote in the leadership race, I'd probably end up right now voting for Frank Baylis, number 1, Chandra Arya, number 2, because that guy's a mad lad. He's hilarious, even though he's crazy. But Frank Baylis, at least he's a business owner. At least he's run a business. He was only a one-term MP and decided not to run again in 2019 on his own accord. So he can literally say he's not a career politician. He can actually say he can sympathize with business owners. Is he implicated in a federal graft through starting a fakey ventilator business during COVID and getting insider contracts from the Liberals? Yes. But that's basically standard for a Liberal MP. Either you're a corrupt career politician or you sort of jump in and out of office like Frank Baylis and Randy Boissonneau and benefit from contract shenanigans in the background.
I have a number of questions for you about the leadership, but I did want to start off on the news of the day. And in particular, the incoming president of the U.S. doubling down on this threat to make Canada the 51st state, saying that he'll use, quote unquote, economic force to make it happen. As someone who wants to run to lead the Liberal Party and ultimately the country, how should that, in your view, be responded to?
Well, I think we're going to have a very long 4 years if every time President-elect Trump sends out one of his tweets that are meant to be provocative, meant to be insulting to us. It's part of his negotiating tactics. He wants to negotiate on some border issues, and this is something that is part of his way of doing business.
That's all I need to hear from him. Again, would never vote Liberal. If he was the Liberal leader, would still not vote Liberal. I'd still be voting for the Poilievre Conservatives. But oh my goodness, he's one of the only people in Canada to give the right response on the Trump issue. Trump's being provocative, part of his negotiating tactics. We should just motor forward and actually negotiate over the issues that this is all about. The border, trade, that stuff, keep focused. My goodness, how is that guy actually not the leader right now? How is he a fringe contender and not a main contender when the other options are central banker Mark Carney and Justin Trudeau hatchet lady up until a month and a half ago, Christy Freeland? How are those the other two frontrunners alongside Christy Clark? But is she even really a frontrunner anymore after she embarrassed herself? I don't think so. Maybe there are still weirdos going to come out of the woodwork to run for the leadership race. Probably more the merrier at this point. It's a ridiculous race. All you need is $350,000. And while that's a lot of money, just go for it. Come on. Just go to Bay Street and get a bunch of 300 people to give you the max donation and you'll be on your way. really the Liberals want the rate to be so high, the $350,000 buy-in, because the party does get to have a cut of the proceeds. I don't think they get to spend it on the next election. I think they have to spend it on internal type management and governance stuff, but it still lets them offset other costs. That's where I think the main reason to get rid of Justin Trudeau was the money. It was that all the donors did not want to back Trudeau. They were tired of him. So donors who have a lot of money and won't miss $1,800, they're willing to at least give it to a new guy. But I think they were feeling like they were being taken advantage of and taken for granted when Trudeau kept swinging by and saying, "Hey, do you got another $100,000 for me in your office here?" And they're like, "Well, you suck at your job and you're losing, so we don't want to give you money." It's almost a one-for-one repeat of the Biden-Harris swap out, except this time it's Trudeau for like Freeland or Carney or one of the other guys. And except at least Biden had an excuse of why he needed to drop out, and Justin Trudeau only has his own crushing stupidity to fall back on. But that's probably it for me today here, guys. This is going to be an absolute, as I said at the start, on fire clown car. I don't know what really makes these candidates interesting to average people. When Pierre Poilievre is kind of leading a somewhat populist conservative movement and at 45% in the polls, what are these people coming out talking like career politicians? And I know Poilievre is technically also a career politician. He's been in for a while. But my distinction is if you're in politics and you're good at it, don't leave. Stick around as long as you want. But the problem with all these Liberals is that they are only good at follow the leader. That is what they've been doing for the past 9 to 10 years. Frank, longer than that when Trudeau first became the leader back in 2012, 2013. So what are their credentials? What's Freeland's actual disagreement with Carney? What is going to be the fight between those two factions of Liberal voters? I don't like that Freeland decided to cancel Disney Plus instead of Netflix. It's obviously the superior streaming service. I don't like that Mark Carney worked for the Bank of England. He should have only ever worked for the Bank of Canada. Like, I don't even know what you say if you're a liberal. Like, I say that they're basically economic authoritarians and woke leftists who hate the culture of Canada. They all believe in mass immigration. They all believe in high taxes and regulations and think the government does everything better than the private sector. I have my critiques, but what does a liberal say about any of these people that makes them fit or unfit for office? Like, all of them might as well be wearing skin masks of Trudeau's face, because this is just a rerun of Trudeau, except for Chandra Arya and Frank Baylis, who dare to be interesting. Christy Clark is borderline a federal liberal, even though she's a old BC liberal and the premier BC. I know she was never in Trudeau's government, but she's still pretty much running the Trudeau playbook minus the carbon tax, which, let's see how long that really lasts as a promise when she actually gets into office. I don't trust Christy Clark as far as I can throw her. But anyways, that should be truly it for me today. I always extend these videos out way too long. But again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you guys want to financially support the channel, you can always donate to the legal fund in the description below, as well as pinned at the top of the comments. Being sued by a Chinese billionaire developer over defamation that in now over 3 years, he has not actually filed any real evidence to prove we defamed him or injured him in any way. And now he is just drawing it out and trying to cost me money. So it's cost me over $34,000 fighting this thing. So any bit of money you have, helps. But obviously, I'm not going to suddenly go away if you don't donate. So don't worry about it too much. And I also have my website linked in the description below and pinned in the comments, WyattClaypool.com, if you want nomination recommendations as well as leadership recommendations, both federally and provincially. I'd urge you to sign up, especially if you're in Manitoba and New Brunswick, because in those two provinces, the progressive conservative parties are going to be looking for a new leader. In Manitoba, Wally Daldrich is a great PC leadership candidate, and I am hoping that Chris Austin, the former leader of the People's Alliance and current PC MLA, decides to throw his hat in the ring to replace Blaine Higgs. Higgs was a great premier. I think he just had bad election campaign advisors, and I think Chris Austin probably does have more of the energy to stay the course on the good policies that Blaine Higgs has, but pushing them in a more assertive and aggressive, manner. Anyways, that's it. See you guys later.